And I'll start this installment with some interesting. I've got a spray bottle hanging on it, but what that down there is that is it's a charging possibility. So if you got the $300 that I spent for this one, I haven't really checked on the prices. We've got a lot of units that are available, readily available. It's 3 wires, so this right here will produce 400 watts, 12 volt. So that right there will charge what you need to charge over time. So it's not going to be something instantaneous, but hey, it's free. So what's that for? Well, why I've had that for as long as I've had it is I've snatched that up as quick as possible because of this monstrosity. I'll show you the name of it right there. I have tested it. Today I finalized my test and I'm going to do my honest review of what it is that we're looking at here. Because I had a stick that was wrapped around my brake disc and things of that nature, and I was hitting the throttle pretty hard, and she was like, no, 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 I'm not gonna do it. No, that's a 12-volt battery. So, she was saying no, and I was trying to, pedal my way out, and, I've got, briars and sticker bushes deciding to turn me into a human pincushion. So I'm trying to, maneuver my e-bike out of the forest and do a test. And I didn't quite realize I had something wrapped around the back of this, and it was actually stuck up underneath here, and it was up under the fender. So I did realize that there was something rolling around back there, so I did yank that out, and she went to doing whatever she was normally doing, but she was down to about 1. To thoroughly explain some things, we all understand what this right here is, if I can get it out with 2 fingers. So you understand what this is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this, and we're going to go ahead and pull that out. So you understand that there's this right here. So this is called a male fitting for a low pressure line. So you look at the size of those threads right there, and then you'll have to talk to Mr. Mayor Mindani about what you attach to the end of that. So this right here is your adjustable for your Schrader and that other wonderful little thing that you have out there for your bikes, for your expensive $4,000 bikes. But that little thing right there, well, it goes right up on inside this little hand pump right here. And yeah, you're going to see the name Rock Brothers all over this thing because it was available. So there's the 12-volt battery right there. So we're 12.5. We were 12.6 before a full run. We did a ride. This right here, you remember off my motorcycle. So this was about 300. This is a full-blown GPS. It's also got a camera system. So I've also got some bags covering up the frame, but it's got a good wide frame to it. So I'm not even joking about how wide that frame is. I mean, she's got a pretty wide frame. I mean, that's a good piece of steel right there. And we got these controls right here. Excuse me, I've been out in the wind today. So this is for the GPS unit. These are all the factory components here, and of course the mirror. I don't get that. So we understand that we always have to have a helmet. Just in case, and then we also have gloves right here. And I understand this right here, it lost its DOT rating for motorcycles and other types of sports, but the e-bikes, because we're 30, we're 40, and we're 55, so anything under 55, so she went ahead and got her DOT rating, or she got her rating right here. So these helmets right here, they've got a new life. The only thing that I would request about these helmets is that darkened visor. If we have a dual visor set up, or if the helmet came with a clear visor, and then you could buy the tinted visor. But I had trouble getting these visors. I couldn't find these visors. So if you got these visors laying around, I would like a set. So I would like a clear one as well as a shaded, sheltered, or a smoked one. So if I'm, at night, I can see versus going helmetless without in the dark. And if you're in the dark, you want to make sure you got a good helmet. So I've gone back to my BMX days with the gooseneck and the triple trees. I was happy with the triple trees. They've got a little bit of response to them. Of course, we got the light, the color changing light. I've got the front bag. I have put a little bit of something on it. I've put probably about 5 charges through it so far. Of course, that's what that's for, is that camera right there. So there it is right there, and like I said, you'll see this quite often. So I've got, we can put things in there, and electronics or spare parts, and a patch kit and things of that nature. I have taken advantage of zip ties, and of course we always need to make sure that we have the proper attire and the safety gear. So this is waxed canvas. So this is pretty thick stuff, so I've added some duck wax to this, or you can oil it. But like I said, I had a little bit of a sapling pulled up in that brake caliper over there, and it's not warped or anything like that. It was showing some binding. I didn't destroy the back tire or anything like that, so the tire still existed. And of course, there's the rear-facing camera. It's got turn signals. I would say something a bit bigger on that, but this is classified as a mountain bike, so this is more intended for off-road trail bike kind of thing. It does have the holes here for the light kit, and we've got all these little plugs here, so I'd imagine I could probably get some plugs and wire some things in there. It's got a good strong neck on it. I literally put this thing through a washout that was, I would say, damn near, I would say about 3 inches to 4 inches deep, and I didn't die from it. So, I survived. My 12-volt battery didn't move either. So, if you understand how that's all put together, that's how I did that. So I've relocated some things, and the seat, the seat, it's decent. I've got bone on bone in my back, so I've got some serious problems with my spinal column, and it doesn't do too bad. But I'm not sitting on this seat while I'm going over bumps. I'm actually standing on the pedals, and I'm letting my knees take care of that. So it does have a license plate. So if your state requires it, and if you can actually find an Aovopro, that is, I think it's rated at 750 to 3,900. I think that's what that says. I'll get you a good look at that one right there. 48 volt, 750 to 3 grand. So she's governed at 31 miles an hour. I was full on the throttle, and we were going downhill. We hit 31, and I heard that. I heard her start braking back here. So the chain I haven't had to replace. Of course, it's got the Shimano. So I don't know. It's $600. It wasn't $1,000, or it wasn't 2 grand or anything like that. And it's got room for improvement. But if we can get the actual rating, if that is a 3,000 watt motor back there, I understand that there's some very small components in here. So therefore, the regulator, as well as all of that information is in the here right here. So this entire area down here is where your electrical box is at. Most of them you can find underneath the seat. I'm chomping at the bit with this one right here, and I'm understanding that it's always a good idea to maintain safety with these e-bikes. I've seen some people do some pretty gnarly builds and actually go out and just tear it up, and I'm kind of thinking, okay, so you're doing 80 miles an hour through a school zone, and you think that's okay? I kind of stopped to think, not to get political or anything like that, about what would happen if somebody opened up a door and hit you with the door while you were doing 75 through a school zone. So make sure that you're in your appropriate areas, and make sure you've got what you need, and understanding that licensing can be forced upon us if we screw things up. So therefore, understanding protecting the population and protecting children at school is the utmost importance. So safety is always where we need to go. So I'm a Gen Xer. Whenever I was younger, it was the bike or it was video games. And understanding that Nintendo and Atari and Sega Genesis and all of those things from our past, that you all have now Xboxes and PlayStations and things of that nature. So all of your gaming components and PC gaming and things of that nature. But then you understand that you got to get outside and you got to do things. So you got to live in the world and you got to be out there. So if you've definitely put a lot of work into your life, and and you've got some joints that don't like doing things and you have to force them to do things, but understanding that that pedal assist is quite nice. Now, one thing I do understand about these e-bikes is you got 1st through 5, so it caps out. So that's your governor, your 1st speed, your 2nd speed, and your 3rd speed. So you have that digital, but then you also have a gear set. So right here you have your force multiplier right here, which is called the Shimano. That's ATA Index freewheel. I would not say that is the most expensive, but I didn't look at it to see if it wobbled or not. And of course, having a disc brake, so we'll get down here and we'll take a look at that disc brake. It's held up and it's done what it's need to do. It's not the thickest thing in the world, and it's about the same thickness as a quarter. So of course I've got the trailer hitch on it, so the trailer hitch did work. Bolted up perfectly fine. It's got the passenger pegs. Of course I'm going to do a battery saddle, so I'm going to have two 20 amp hours right here. I'm going to leave this right here, and I'll do an independent plug. So this is going to disappear right here. That's going to be connected to a 12 volt from the 24 volt. And this battery box is going to be out of the way, and I'm going to take possibly some cutting boards and make a little area here so I can have all my connections inside here to clean that up. So this is it in the rough. I have been looking at shocks and things like that, but looking at what we've done today, I'll hold on to those for a little bit. But my honest review about this right here. So I mean, it's got that trail bike look to it. So your old your old single cylinder trail bike, but this is a motor bike and not an engine bike. So this is also a motorcycle because it's got a motor, an electric motor, and it cycles. So if this was an engine, so the engine would be a spontaneous combustion engine. So this is actually a motorcycle, and if you have an engine cycle, there would be a definite name for it. But understanding that they all started out as motorcycles because the very first ones were actually electric. And imagine this, after all of this time in the Industrial Revolution, we now have electrified transportation. Please enjoy, please be responsible, please post it up and donate to your rails and trails. Let's get our cycling, let's get our pegging, let's get our walking paths, let's get our electric systems all together. Therefore, unless you want to share the road with tractor trailers and things of that nature, let's go ahead and put some effort towards the e-trails. And understanding, yeah, we're definitely walking away from yard carpets, and those yard gardens are definitely something that's going to help us get out of this situation. So look at the past, and the past will always instruct you to what you're doing. I have some grease here. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to definitely tell you that I've literally bunny hopped this thing on numerous occasions. I've hit chug holes, I've run it down a gravel road, it's dirty, I've had things taken apart off of it, I've taken things off of it, I've added things to it, and definitely, saying that from an individual who's got a Kawasaki, a VN800 sitting in the garage back here that's completely dismantled, and I really don't even want to put it together because of the expense that has to go into it. But like I said, if you want to own and operate this right here, and if you can afford to take it to somebody to have it repaired, or if it's still under warranty, then you're good to go. But if you want to keep this right here around, and if you want to keep this alive, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to tell you, you're going to have to learn some new skills. And back in the old days about Grandpa telling you not to stick your tongues to wires and keep the 9-volt batteries off your lip, but then also understanding that today's modern digitronics and today's also digimills, as well as AI technologies, are going to expect a different type of knowledge from us. So therefore, understanding that we elders, I am 46 years of age, can learn from the youth, and the youth can learn from the elders. But also understanding that if you are a bit older and you do need to get out and exercise, therefore you can take care of your sciatica as well as keep your parts in good working function. Therefore you have cycling and you have motor assist. So if you get tired, you can do this. So if you're from the war, if you're old, if you're from Gen X, I can definitely tell you this. If you understand what I'm saying in my native tongue, I'm going to have to agree with this. I'm not going to disagree with it. I'm going to definitely say that I've spent a lot of time in the driveways, and I've spent a lot of time working on vehicles, and I've spent a lot of time working on vehicles and literally having to get up and go to work the next day. So understanding that we see something, but yet again, it's the cost effectiveness that we have right here. So even if, like I said, if all you really have is something like this just to charge it, you have transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave it like this. We have to make our own decisions for ourselves. If we allow other people to make decisions for us, we're not going to be happy about the outcomes. This is Russ. Have an amazing day.